Hi and welcome back to Walk in the Park, a podcast where we invite startup founders to tell about their founder journey while taking a walk outside. Today we are in Gothenburg at GoWest conference or summit, the biggest annual conference for startup scale-ups, VCs and corporates to bring together and share experiences. And we are together with Business Region Gothenburg. We'll be recording several episodes with investors, superstar founders and some ecosystems players to show the best stories to you.
Today we are meeting with Sara Rhost, co-founder of Sortina Pharma. Sara's journey is really inspiring. Her journey started when she was in academia studying about immunology, and then she transferred into working with cancer, and then a bit later started the company. So now it's been several years since she started, and we will be learning about her journey, how she is thinking of building a company, what are they at right now, how are they doing the product development, and so on. I hope you will be inspired from her journey, learning about being comfortable into the uncomfortable. Put your headsets on and join us for a walk in the park.
Hi, Sara.
Hi.
And welcome to Walk in the Park.
Thank you so much, Katarina.
Nice having you here. And we are at Gothenburg today at GoWest, which is the Gothenburg's and West Swedish Venture Summit and the conference for meeting scale-ups, startups, companies and venture capital. Mm. And now we're going for a walk here at Lindholmen and getting to know you and your journey. Let's walk. So the first question I usually ask is about how often you actually have walk and talks in your life.
Oh, too rarely actually. I should do it more often. I think almost zero, unfortunately. I'm pretty active, but I think walk and talks is something that I will bring to my schedule. I should do it more. It's definitely something that is really nice, a nice break, and also promoting creativity, I guess. I should have it in my schedule.
Tell us a bit about yourself. So you have been a researcher, right? And you became an entrepreneur. That's a very impressive and interesting journey. So how did that happen?
How it happened? So I'm a scientist by training. I have a PhD from Gothenburg University in immunology. I've been very interested in immunology, but then later on, cancer. So I performed a lot of science and had different postdoc position within the cancer field. I think cancer is something that many of us can relate to, unfortunately. So that was the case for me as well. So I think I kind of switched my career path towards cancer because of personal reason. My sister got cancer, so I got really interested in the type of research. So. And then I did a couple of postdocs, I moved abroad and then came back to Sweden and continued studying breast cancer. So that's also the lab where I actually, the innovation started for the foundation of Sortina Pharma.
So tell us more about this journey. So you switched first from immunology to cancer, but then the day you decided to start a company.
Oh yeah, I think it wasn't like a day. I think it was something that was dynamic in a way because the science behind it, we felt like this could have a commercial potential. It has a solid scientific background. It's something that we could actually translate to something that has commercial value. And of course, involving innovation office at the Gothenburg University, kind of trying out, testing the idea. Does it really have commercial value from external perspective as well? So I think that's where we actually started landing in the idea and also entering a program in Sweden called SciLife Lab Drug Discovery and Development Program. That's also a program to promote the translation of those kind of pharmaceutical innovations from the university. So I think that's also the starting point for the company. But we founded the company in 2020, so 4 years ago, together with GoVentures. And I think that's also a validation for the commercial perspective that GoVenture sort of wanted to be us being a part of their incubator. So
how was it? Did they approach or you called them and asked for
we started with the innovation office, which is the direct contact to Gothenburg University. And then from there, it's a kind of a smooth process to GoVentures. I don't remember really, but I think it was kind of a mutual thing in the process.
You're working in the health tech space. which is really huge and also very
Yeah.
important with a huge impact on the people. So how do you find the concrete idea you want to build a company around, and what actually you're doing at Sortina Pharma?
Yeah, so we are developing small molecule therapeutics, specifically in the area of oncology. It has great potential. It can be applied as an oral drug, so I think it's something that is really needed for patients. So we can see that small molecules is very suitable for the targets. So we could give it as an oral tablet to the patients. And I think for cancer patients going through really tough treatment regimes for their cancer, having to visit the hospital often, having a lot of side effects, I think it's very welcoming to have a drug that you can actually take at home. It's very tolerable. It's something that can, actually in our case with our drug, is to enhance the effect of the conventional treatment with the hope that you never need to do it again. That's the foundation of Sortina Pharma, creating world-class small molecules targeting sortilin.
Back to starting a company and the transition. So how did you find your co-founder? You are two co-founders in the company.
Yeah, we are two co-founders. The other co-founder, except for me, is Göran Lamberg. He's a professor at the university. So it's the main founder of the company and the main owner. So this is the lab where the actual research started.
Look for co-founders, someone who you will be building together and working together on that big innovation for several years.
Yes.
Many years.
Yeah. That is, of course, very important. We have been working together for many years. I actually contacted Göran even before I started in his lab. So we had a kind of a communication for many years, even when I did postdocs abroad, because my mission was to come back to his lab. So I think, we had this communication for a long time. So, and I think I'm very good at sensing people as well. So I think I use my gut feeling in terms of sensing that, and also working together. I think it's a good match.
And you don't regret? You haven't regret?
Not at all. He's an expert in the field, and it's a pleasure to work with him as well.
So what do you think from your experience? Now it's been first many years in the science space, and now building a company. So what qualities are similar for researchers and startup founders or founders of a company? Any similarities?
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I think resilient is something that you need to have. And also patient, maybe it comes together a little bit with resilience. And be open-minded. Of course, that could also be different. In a company, you are maybe more focused compared to what you are in the industry or in the academia, sorry. But still, you need to have an open mind, I think. In terms of being flexible, I think you can plan the next day or the next week, but maybe it will never really turn out the way you planned. So being flexible in that sense, that's also something in the academia. And also having that solid scientific background. I think if you are involving external investors, etc., you have a responsibility that this is based on solid science, and that you are trusted, you're trustworthy, and based on solid work, basically. I think that's, of course, something that is needed for the startup as well, and in academia.
What about since the beginning of the journey? I remember when we were building a startup, there were many things which, as you say, happened not as planned, took much longer time, but also competitors, and you get frustrated, you get tired, not like you want to give up, but sometimes you're really close. Have you experienced those situations, and how do you deal with those?
Yes, of course, it's ups and downs, and I mean, you have your doubts, you have your moments when you believe you're on top of the world, and so I've been both down and up, of course, but I think taking more day by day and see the long process, you have the aim in front of you and not be scared of a little bump here and there, having the goal, your eyes on the goal makes you go through it, I think.
Do you have any tips or tricks or tools you use on this journey, how you really be able to focus on the aim and keep going?
Oh, I think it's having the patience in mind, that you could actually do something that can transform patients' lives. I think having that in mind, especially in the tough times, maybe, even in the happy times, maybe in the tough times, you really need to think about that this is actually for a good cause, and it's worth fighting for.
So you mentioned when we talk on the phone, being comfortable in uncomfortable, the concept I think your husband
exactly.
talked to you about. I was really curious about that. And can you elaborate more on what is that and what is that for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, you mentioned my husband. He mentioned that, of course, because we do a lot of endurance training and CrossFit training. And I mean, whatever activity you do, especially maybe endurance, you will be in a very uncomfortable situation where you maybe push your body and your physiques to a level which is very uncomfortable, and trying to push through and be comfortable in that uncomfortable state, and knowing that you have your goal. I think that is also something that I can apply to the startup world, because it will be uncomfortable. But trying to find the peace in that. And it's also very, very much self-development as well in that, I think. I think it's a good statement even for the startup.
Is that difficult for you to keep
Yes.
kind of inner peace? And
Yes, of course. It's easier said than done. But trying to keep that in mind, of course. Take a deep breath and having, whatever you do that makes you feel more balanced in a stressful situation. It could be anything, but for me it's activity, spending time with family, being more grounded in a way, because you can feel that everything evolves around this problem that you have, or the startup in general, but having that bigger picture sometimes. That life is also about family, and if you feel happy, if you are happy and healthy, I think that will also translate into the startup.
how do you take care of yourself? Do you have any routines? I don't know, wake up early or train that often that you need to support yourself and take care of yourself?
Yeah, I think being physical active is very important, that we talked about previously as well. I think that's something that I do, and I think it's very good for your mental health. It's super important for me, and of course it's a struggle sometimes to fit it in. But maybe walks and talks is now something that I can actually do. But I really try to take the time to do it, because I feel the difference, and it's very much important. And then maybe just take a moment every day to have some mindfulness. It's also something that I do, like a meditation, or it could just be like 5 minutes, and just be more grounded in that. I feel that makes a difference as well. And gratefulness. I'm very grateful that I can be on this journey. So feeling that gratefulness is also something that keeps me grounded and balanced.
So you are having a role of CEO of a company.
Yeah.
Probably pretty big transition from being a scientist, working in academia, and a lot of new things popping up every day.
Yeah.
So how is that for you? What do you feel, and how is this role? How was it in the beginning, for example?
Oh yeah, it's in the beginning especially, it was like jumping out of a cliff for me. It was a completely different area and sector. In a way, I feel secure in the way that I know the knowledge or the technology. I have knowledge about the technology. But business-wise, positioning, commercialization, and all that part, building a company, and that was something completely new. So it was almost like just jumping and hope for the best. But with time, you learn, of course. So I really learned to enjoy it a lot. So I think being a CEO is really something that I really enjoy, especially for Sortina Pharma, since I'm very much focused on that, and also being one of the founders. But I think it's the same with academia, the resilience part and all that commonality that they have. It's goes together. Yeah. Well.
So you're now in the middle of fundraising,
Yes.
right? And this is something probably new too.
Yeah.
To do a lot of pitching, to prepare and meet all these people. So how is this going? It's a tough process.
Yeah, it's been a tough process, but I remember my first pitch. That was a fun thing. And if I think of that, I think a lot of things have happened. So it's always fun to think about that first pitch sometimes. But it was a really good person that I pitched to, and he's actually my mentor today. So it's
great.
really nice. But yeah, of course, you do a lot of pitching, and maybe the first pitch was not good, but hopefully it's better now. And we have secured some funding, so I think we have done something good. At least.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And the cool story about the first you pitched to become your mentor.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did that happen?
I think he had constructive criticism, which I like. So I thought he was a great person to kind of just go through the pitch and go through the science and also the strategy. So I find that this constructive perspective of things was very good, and that could be something that, he could be a good mentor for me, and that was completely right. So he's still one of the person that I can talk to about anything in a neutral way. So that's good, because he hasn't any involvement in the company. Yeah.
Because that's also another interesting discussion we often have with founders. Being a CEO of a company and a startup, it can be a pretty lonely position or journey to be into. So how do you have mentors, a group of supporters? Is that important for you? Do you have that network around you? How do you do that?
I think that's very important. I mean, both for the development part, you need different perspective of things. But also, just every day, on everyday basis, to have someone to just bounce ideas with, could be anything. I think that's something that I need. I can definitely work alone. I don't have a problem to work alone, but I do enjoy just bouncing ideas, and I think that's fun. It's more fun to work in a team.
So you are still in a pretty early stage of a company, but you will be building bigger soon, I assume, and you will be building company culture and bring more people on board.
Yeah.
So what kind of culture you want to build in your company?
Oh yeah, I think culture is super important, because it's always very hard to change if you have a bad culture. So I definitely want to work to establish a good culture of having innovative work, because you have to have a culture that's kind of support this innovation, and also supporting each other, and not being afraid of failure, of course, which comes together with innovation, I think, because that comes also with failure, trying new things. I think it's very good to have that culture, and also, as we touched upon before, that maintenance, not only you have to have personal sustainability, not only sustainability for environment, of course, but also personal. So I think that's something that I think should be built into the culture as well.
So how you will be attracting the best people to your company, you think? It's pretty difficult for an early stage startup. You basically pitch the vision, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how you will be attracting, and how you will be looking, what kind of people you will be looking for, you think? The main qualities.
Yeah, I guess those qualities goes hand in hand with the culture that I want to build as well. People that are open-minded, innovative, but of course it comes with a lot of expertise. You have to have your expertise areas, of course. For the qualitative perspective, but I think it's important to try to attract those people, and I think if you have that culture built in the company, that will also attract people to the company.
If we go a bit back to your childhood.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you were a kid, what were you like what you like doing? Did you
Yeah.
know at that time you will become an entrepreneur or scientist? Or...
Yeah, no, I think I never had a dream of starting a company, but I always have this curiosity and the feeling that I can do anything I want from my parents and my upbringing. So having that open mind that I can do anything I want, and the curiosity, especially for the human biology and science. So I think if I do something that I feel passionate about, and I think that's something that can translate to a company if it has to. And I think in order to translate this innovation to something that can benefit patients, we have to start a company. But it wasn't my initial dream to do it. But if I can pursue that with a company, then yeah.
Do you remember the moment or any experiences from early childhood that you became that type of person with that mindset?
No, I don't know. I think just having that in general, like no limitations, and I think that goes with everything. I mean, sports. Okay, let me try. It's almost like this Pippi Longstock. I haven't tried this, so yeah, why
We'll
I
go
can do
fine.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll go fine. So I want to try things. I always had that. I want to try things at least once. So
And then you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you done any sport when you were small?
Yeah, just a little bit of everything. Handball, quite many individual sports actually, which is kind of strange. But I do like endurance sports. I do. This is what I do today a bit as well.
You mentioned stubbornness as one of
Oh,
the
yeah,
qualities.
yeah.
How do you think that helped you? As I assume you have that quality in you.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it positive or negative? Stubbornness, but I don't know. It
can
can
be
be
both.
both. Exactly. So I think definitely I have that. But I hope, and I think I don't have that to a point where I have to be right or, you know, stubborn in that sense. I can definitely look at different perspectives, but I think maybe resilient and, yeah, I think that maybe goes more into that word as well.
If you could go back to the point you were about to start a company, is there anything you would do differently if you would start today?
Oh yeah, that's a tough question. I think I might have waited a bit before I started a company. You can still do a lot of things with soft funding if you're not a company. So I maybe waited with the initial foundation of the company. I think, and also being maybe cautious and mindful with when you are bringing in external capital. Not do it too quick. I think it takes time before you actually are ready for that as well. Just being mindful, at least, what that comes with.
Because you took the first investors pretty early? Or you
Yeah,
a bit
pretty
later?
early we had some investors, and I think, I mean, it was of course good for the company, but it also changed the dynamic in the company. You have to be ready, and I mean, talking about coming just straight from academia, and I feel more ready for the external capital today, and also for the whole company, I think. But it's a dynamic process, so yeah, it's hard to time everything perfectly.
What is the big ambition for Sortina Pharma?
Oh yeah, we want to create world-class small molecule targeting sortilin in order to address life-threatening diseases, and we are mainly aiming for oncology. So the aim there is to really pursue with solid scientific and clinical evidence that this could actually improve patients' lives, and hopefully we can partner up with a big pharma so we can do this in an optimal way, so patients can actually access the treatment as early as possible.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
I